All right, so welcome back. What we're going to do today is solving our quadratic functions when the a is not equal to 1. So that's what we're going to focus on for today's lesson. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the objective is our CO is I will be able to factor and solve quadratic equations when a is not equal to 1. And then our LO is I will write the solution of a quadratic equation when the a is not equal to 1. So again, we're going to solve with those harder quadratic equations, and we're going to factor as well, so getting that practice in from last week. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we want to do is basically we want to review how to factor these complicated equations when, again, that a number, so this a in particular, is not equal to 1. So we want to focus on this term. Okay, so the first thing we want to definitely do is go back through our steps that we did before. So type in your leading term and your ending term. So my leading term here, 3x squared, and then my ending term for this particular one, negative 5. So remember, we got to take this a term, this 3, and this negative 5 and multiply them together. So in other words, this is basically what this little part is for. I'm going to take my 3 times the negative 5, so I get a negative 15. So you want to think about what are the factors again, what numbers can multiply to give me this 15. So we get 1 and 15, and also 3 and 5. Now, I want you to pay attention to this part. So because of that negative, how do I get that negative term when I'm multiplying? So this is how we get that multiplication here. So again, one has to be positive, one has to be negative, and then which one can possibly add or subtract to give me this number, this negative 2 over here. So that's what we're focusing on for this part. So in other words, the only possible set I have, 3 and this 5, but it's a negative 2. So if I were to add or subtract these, how can I possibly get a negative 2 with these two numbers? Okay, so I'm going to have a positive 3 and a negative 5. So I double check. Positive 3 times negative 5, I get negative 15. 3 minus 5, I'll get a negative 2. So that's our two factors for this particular one. And then it doesn't matter where I put these two. I can simply just put my 3x, my positive 3x, and then my negative 5x here. Now we're going to factor using this box method. What factors can I factor out of this bottom row? Well, I'll be able to factor out a negative 5. What can I factor out of this top row? It looks like a 3x. What can I factor from the bottom? It looks like just an x. They don't have anything else in common. And then from here, now I don't see anything in common, so that tells me that I should have a positive 1 here. So these are our two factors. So 3x minus 5 is that one factor, and x plus 1. So now we're going to apply what we did last time this week and solve these. So it's pretty straightforward. So we have our 3x minus 5 from before, from that first slide, and my x plus 1. Now remember, change the expression into an equation by setting equal to 0 equals 0. So what that means is zero product property is what is the terms that can make this little binomial 0, and what term can go here to make this also 0. So that's what we're setting up here. So now what's going to happen is change into the product. That's what we factored here. And I'm going to set up my two mini equations. So the very first step, I'm going to separate this. I'm going to take this term, or this little binomial, and I'm going to do my 3x minus 5, set that one equal to 0, and then I'm going to take this other set here, and I'm going to make my little mini terms like my steps say here. And then I go ahead and solve. So remember, going through your steps, I want to get this x by itself. So for that very first step, I want to do opposite here, just move this 5 away, plus 5 over here. These are going to cancel. I'm going to bring down my 3x equals 0 plus 5. Well, I will get 5. Again, get x by itself. So this is now 3 times x. So opposite multiplication. I'm now going to do division, do dividing on both sides. This cancels, and therefore my number will be x should equal 5 over 3. So it will give us fractions now for these types of problems for today. And then I have my other mini equation I have to solve. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 1 to both sides. These two are going to cancel. Bring down my x. 0 minus 1, well, I'll just get a negative 1. So that would be my two solutions. So I have a negative 1 and a 5 over 3. So don't forget, we want to make sure we put in our little solution set. Here's my little bracket. Smallest number goes first, since this is negative. So my negative 1, comma, 5 over 3. and then I'm going to close with my bracket, and that's my solution for this particular problem here. Okay.